Hola. Welcome to episode 53 of Word to Your Mama. If you're new here, if you're first timers, let me give you a little insight as to what Word to Your Mama is. It's a podcast about the life of a Latinx mama, that's me, and the lives of her amazing multicultural tribe. A celebration of shared experiences navigating this dynamic world. There'll be special guests, mad laughs, and absolutely no BS. Nah B is our motto. Hosted by me, Ritzy P. Segments by the Supernatural Bear. That's my little man's. Other than that, this podcast will be explicit. Please believe it. Today we have Lilliam Rivera, an amazing writer. She's here to talk about her latest book, We Light Up the Sky. But we start off the conversation trying to figure out our root for our ironic love of Law and Order and Law and Order SVU. It soothes us, right? But it's like cops. It's this whole thing. And then how she loves challenging herself by writing different genres, and she kills it each time. She, never wanted to stay in the same lane. We talk about her writing her graphic novel for DC, which is Unearthed, a Jessica Cruz story. How it was having one of her babies, one of her books, for the first time be based out, in LA, with We Light Up the Sky, and how infusing the impact of COVID into her latest book, how she was able to do that, but without re-traumatizing young folks. Also, how these past couple of years have been enlightening, to say the least, to show us who are the real ride or dies. And we also touch upon her very personal essay that came out last year that was very powerful. It's called Talking to My Family About Colorism is an Act of Love. And don't forget, we got some amazing questions and comments from the audience, including one from Kano, the mild-mannered hooligan. And, when you listen to it, if you're listening to it and you're a powers that be that can make our dreams happen, then let's do this spin-off thing. You'll understand later when you listen to the episode of Dos Mujeres, Un Chinito. All right, let's get into it. You mentioned Law and Order. Why does it soothe me? It's like some fucked up shit. Like for you, is it New York? I don't know. But for me, it's just like, it calms me down. Like I need a channel where I know there's channels that it's kind of almost on 24/7, but I need a 24/7 Law and Order SVU 24/7. It calms me down. Hear that dun dun and the way it sounds and the noise of this. I don't know. It calms me the fuck down. It can be
why is that? Like it's so weird. It's so horrible. It's like so stereotypical, like law enforcement using people of color,
exactly. Stereotypes of our people. And at the same time, I'm like, fucking defund the police. And at the same time, like Law and Order all day, Stabler, Benson, Tutuola.
And it's like, if you know anyone who's an actor who lives in New York, they have been on that show.
Yeah. It's a rite of passage. And everyone talks about it. Like, if you're from New York, like, I was dead body number 2. I was prostitute number 5.
My brother, who I rarely speak about my brother, but he has been on that show.
Yeah, I remember seeing, I'm like, is that? You got to do it, though. And then it's funny to look like later on, like, especially when I'm watching, like I had the season's over and I need it in my life and I'm jonesing, right? So I was like, I got to look at the reruns, and I'll watch the reruns and I'll be like, oh shit, I forgot Homeboy was in there when he was 12 or when he wasn't famous. You're like, he was a serial killer kid.
That's the thing. You're just like, I know it is, but it is a soothing thing that whenever I'm in a hotel, I'm like, click, click, click. I'm like, what channel is Law and Order? So I know I'm okay.
TNT, USA. The go-to. This is the go-to. And forget about a holiday. They're playing that shit 24/7, and I'm all about it.
So weird.
Yeah, I don't get it. It's so weird. But I talked about it on the Nerd Out once, and I was trying to find my root, what it was. And I think you and I talked about it maybe like on a thread or something with Nabi Productions, LMC Por Vida. But my root is I used to watch when I was little, Perry Mason.
Oh, that's so interesting. I've never seen Perry Mason before.
I remember wild. I was 4 and it was that one show, Andy Griffith Show.
Oh,
the Andy Griffith Show. So I was 4 years old, wasn't in school yet. And my mom and I remember we were like on welfare. So every day for lunch, I'd have Campbell's chicken noodle soup with those fake yellow cheese with mayo on white bread. And she would half it up for me. And I'd sit in front of the black and white TV kids. And this was like the 70s, right?
Yes.
The 70s, 80s. And I would, Andy Griffith Show, like clockwork, it was my shit. Andy Griffith Show, and then después, Perry Mason. I don't know what was happening, but Perry Mason was in the courtroom. And I was like, that's my root.
For me, I guess it would have been, this is way back in the day, but my parents would watch Beretta.
Oh, see, with the bird.
The bird. I don't know. It wasn't a parrot, but it was a cockatoo. Or something, right? So my parents would watch it. We were too young and we weren't supposed to be watching it because it was past our bedtime, but I would listen to the song of it.
Yeah.
And then I was into that. And maybe that has to do with why I like Columbo and I like SUV, Law and Order.
It's that procedural cop drama and shit. So when the new Perry Mason came out, I was like, what is this?
Oh, that's right. Because it was on HBO. I watched some episodes. It was good. So I was like, it was good. Perry Mason in?
But I was I was like, whoa, shit, there's a whole backstory of Perry Mason. He was like, multifaceted and all kinds of shit. And I was like, but then
no idea.
It wasn't until the end that when he was like in the courtroom and I was like, oh, that makes sense. And then when they played the actual song, forget it. But my 4-year-old self, I was going crazy. I was like, there it is.
And that was a good series, but I had forgotten that it was connected to Perry Mason. I was just like, oh, they're just trying to change it up.
Yeah, no, it was like telling the beginning story and I appreciate it. I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, that's my real. So anyways, Law and Order, we love it. It soothes us. It could be some fucked up shit, but we love it. I don't know what it is. It is what it is. That's one of the reasons why we connect. So Lilliam, let's start off, even though we started, let's start off with, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm okay. I'm good. I am just, how did I say this? Handling my business? Is that just taking care of stuff and maintaining? It's weird. It's weird because, I have a book come out and then I'm just like, I'm promoting. So I'm promoting and I'm just like, I have events and events are happening and stuff. And I'm like, I see the light at the end where I'm not going to be doing that, and that's always exciting.
And speaking of, because I definitely want to talk about your book, but I also want to talk about other stuff because, everyone, you've been doing this whole tour thing and it's the same things, little variations, except the lip bar. I love the lip bar one because it's, it's with family and stuff like that. And I love that one. That one was great.
I know, me too. And it did feel like I was just having a get together with some friends I haven't seen.
Yeah, that was amazing. I love that. Shout out to the lip bar. I always try to make sure I buy your books from there. It's like this whole thing that I, since the beginning, they're in the Bronx. I'll have a link to them. So I just wanted to say felicidades on the Amazon bestseller Teen and YA Magical Realism for Never Look Back.
What? Yeah, that was really cool. I mean, I was surprised that happened. That's really cool.
Because that came out last year.
Yeah, it came out last year and it's the ebook version. And the paperback just came out just a couple of weeks ago. So I love that book. I think it's a really special book. So I'm happy when anyone discovers it. And I'm like, yeah, it's a good book. You should read it.
And also it got the 2021 Pura Belpre honor.
Yes. And that
for
was
YA
cool.
text.
Yeah, that's like American Library Association. So it's like librarians who selected it, which is also amazing. And it was the first time that they were honoring young adult books. It was the
I didn't know
first
that.
time they're doing that category. So that was really cool that I was able to be a part of that. Like Never Look Back was able to be honored that way. Because I don't know, that's a big deal. For me, it was a big deal.
It's a big deal. And also knowing your story, I knew it was a big deal. Also, when we looked in, I read a book prior to you getting that award about her. It was a children's book, you know?
Yes. And she was the first Afro-Latina, first Puerto Rican to be a librarian. And that it was a big deal. I was just like, I can't, I'm like in awe of the fact that I am associated with her. She's like a trailblazer.
Yeah. And then it fits. It all fits. NYC, her, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. I just want to say that you amaze me all the time. You continue to amaze me because, I have friends. We all have friends that, are creatives in different forms. And, usually just to keep it 100, keep it a buck, you don't usually love everything that your friends do. You know?
Yeah.
You support it and you'd be like, oh, okay, then that's cool. Like, that's cool, but maybe it's not my favorite. You don't say that, but and so every time you come out with some shit, Lilliam, I'm just like, what? She does it again. Right? And so like I've said before, like, especially on the best book podcast ever, best book ever podcast, shout out to Julie. I was on there and I was just like, she came out with, The Education of Marco Sanchez. I was like, her first book. And I was like, oh, this is amazing. I was eating it up. And I was like, oh, she's about to come out with another one. And you're thinking like, oh, the sophomoric curse, that people aren't going to live to the hype. And then the second book, that was like my next fucking favorite shit. And that's the book that I talk about on the podcast. And I was like, how did she do this? And then you come out with and then the fucking, the Goldie Vance. I was like, something, the Supernatural Bear can read. We can read it. Let's read it together for Mimi timers. Right. And I was like, oh shit, this is mystery. She could do this shit too. Like, you just keep on killing it and being amazing. And then I want to talk about other things that you've done too, besides the books. But, how does this happen, Lilliam? What?
Man, I don't know. I mean, I think somebody was asking me this the other day. I was in a panel and I was just like, whenever I think of a project, I'm always thinking like, how can I challenge myself and push myself to do something different? And it's not just because I get bored or anything. It's more of like, how do I challenge my writing? How do I move my craft a little bit? And to me, it's just like, oh, I want to write a mystery. Okay, that sounds cool. I've never written a mystery before. Let me try it. I've read mysteries before. Okay, what does that look like? Or if I'm going to write a science fiction book or I'm going to write a dystopian book, I'm like, I'm such a huge reader of everything. And so I just want to try. Like, I feel like that's the challenge for me, is to like, okay, let me try to do something that I might feel uncomfortable and maybe a little, unaware of the landscape, but I'm going to try, and see if it works. Cause because I love writing and I feel like I don't want to just stay in one lane the whole time,
I love that because I feel a lot of people in my crew, in my different crews, I think we have that. That's something that we have in common. Like, we're creatives, but you don't want to just get pigeonholed in one thing. But, especially now reading, let me just say this. Your books are in the YA genre, but I keep telling my adult friends, and they love them too. I'm just like, yo, this is just quality writing is quality writing. You know what I'm saying? It's quality writing. And especially in the past 8-9 years with the Supernatural Bear, the stuff we've been reading together, he continually wants me to read stuff. So I'm reading like quality things to the point where even we read this one book, and I'm not going to say it's a big bestseller book. And we were just like, what is this? this lack of language that could be used, to the point where the Supernatural Bear was like, oh, is that it? What, she just always going to say such and such said 20 times in a page. And I was like, oh, you're picking up on that too? He's like, yeah, why? How come she doesn't write, he doesn't write, she exclaimed or she yelled, like he's like giving tips. And then we read the first Goldie Vance and he's like, this is what I'm talking about.
Supernatural Bear is like, Exhibit A.
Exhibit A, So, like that's what I'm saying. I recommend your books to everybody, not just the YA, for adults, for everybody. So let's talk about the 2 projects that have come out so far.
Okay.
And let's go back to the DC project that you do with the amazing Steph C. It's like 2 Latinas killing it. She's like 20 something. I think she just turned like 25, 24. I don't know.
She is a baby and just so talented.
Mexicana at that too. So tell us about that project and how that came about, what it's called and how it came about.
So I was approached by DC Comics to come up, they wanted me to write like a graphic novel, which is one of the lines that they were doing, one of their prints. And so, I started looking to see who I wanted to do or which character. Of course, I wanted to do someone who was Latina, Latine, Latinx. And then we kind of honed into Jessica Cruz. So the book that came out, which came out this year, is called Unearthed, a Jessica Cruz Story. And Jessica Cruz is part of the Green Lantern kind of universe. And this is her story as kind of like her origin story, like the beginnings of when she's a high schooler dealing with just being a, high school girl, right? Doing great, getting good grades, having her friends, trying not to go to all the parties, but just maintaining. And then you also learn about her family life and her family. They're undocumented and shows she's kind of like dealing with how to navigate that. Like, do you keep these secrets? Will her friends, really understand that? And then the worst happens. And so we're dealing, and you see this, and she also she goes into this kind of like dream world of this other realm where these Aztec gods and goddesses kind of navigate, give advice, I would say. And the illustrations is just amazing, like so beautiful, so beautiful. So it was cool. It was cool working on that project.
So how different is it to work in that style compared to, one of your books? Because you have to do it. Is it what I was wanting to know, what I didn't ask you via our text was, you write it first? Like, when do the illustrations come in? Do you guys work together? How does that go down?
I write the script first. So I have to write the script, and then we get that like sort of set in stone, the script. And then we started giving Steph some pages, of the script, so she could start working on the illustrations. As I tweak them or rewrite them a little bit. But for the most part, it was like the script is kind of done, and then she gets it, and then she works on it, and then we go back and forth with her illustrations. But I mean, for the most part, I'm just saying like, wow, I'm just like, amazing.
Dope.
So yeah, it wasn't anything that I would even, say. Like, I loved her style, and I thought it was really different from all the other books, and really unique. Like, I was just really so happy because we talked about artists and who to pick, who we wanted. And I was really adamant about making sure that we get Latina artists. And when they discovered Steph, I was just like, here it is.
It felt good.
It was good. She was amazing.
And then I cut you off before with the other question. And how does it differ when you knew it was like, oh, I'm writing for a graphic novel this time? How does that differ from writing, say, like, We Light Up the Sky?
Oh, man. I mean, I'm working on, it's an IP project. So it's like DC Comics is big, and it's, and they were pretty good about like, allowing me to, here's the story. I come up with this story idea. It's like, okay, I worked with the editor and we just sort of nailed the story idea, and then they let me do whatever I had to do. But it's still DC Comics, so you have to really kind of live in that world. And it was good though. I mean, it was very, because I did Goldie Vance. I already worked in a kind of like a world that was already created. Goldie Vance was already created. It was a comic book first, and so I already understood what it's like to work in that space. So it worked. It flowed very easily with DC Comics for the most part. But when I'm writing my own thing, I write my own thing. I don't have to, like, it's not, I'm not asked, I work with an editor, but I'm not, for the most part, I'm just, the editor's just trying to get the best out of me.
Yeah.
I'm not making sure I'm not stepping out of bounds on certain things,
Yeah.
And so then it's just a different kind of challenge. I don't mind it. It's different, So my babies are my babies, and then DC Comics, that's DC Comics babies. I'm just helping.
Did you have like free reign to go into the vaults? Like, oh, I need to do research, so I need to do they like give you access to stuff? How did that work?
They do. I mean, they do. And they give you like, oh, here's some books that you can read that has, this is what's happened with Jessica Cruz before. She has, she deals with anxiety. This is what she, as an adult, and that's what, and then you could see that in the book and Unearthed, you could see that play out even more. So it was really interesting to talk about those things and to include another character from Green Lantern and have her meet together there, in the beginning. And so like it's planting seeds. So that was it was really fun doing that. And also I got to go to the DC Comics office and take pictures with
Amazing. Do you want to support original content that supports diverse voices? Why not support Word to Your Mama? You're listening to it right now. Become a patron. Head over to patreon.com/WTYM. There are 4 patron levels to choose from, including Good Looking Out, I'm Down, Hell Yeah, and Please Believe It. Benefits include patron shoutouts, exclusive patron-only content, and so much more. Head on over to patreon.com/WTYM to take your support to the next level. Gracias.
They had Watchmen stuff and Batman. I was just like geeking out. I was like, can you take a picture of me? Like nerd. It was amazing.
That's awesome. And I think that's a testament to how people seeing your talent and what you could do, because you've been in the Goldie Vance world, you've been in the DC world, and prior to that, access to Star Wars. Let's not forget. Forget. It was for the 40th anniversary of The Empire Strikes Back?
That's right. Which was my favorite of that trilogy. I was like, if I'm going to be in anything, I was just like, yes. Get me in that space where it's like the darkest Star Wars ever, It's like, I love it. Yeah, that was really cool. I'm glad awesome, I was able to do it.
When they reached out to you, was it like, oh, we're thinking about you? Or was it more, oh, we want you to do this? And then were you freaking the fuck out?
They were like, they reach out through my agent. My agent sends it to me and like, are you interested? I was like, do you know me? Like, I was like, how many times have I tried to force my kids to watch that? Like, they're just like, again. I'm like, come on, it's the best one. No, it was amazing when I got that email. I was like, try not to be all eager.
Yeah.
Give it a couple of days and then say yes.
Yeah.
instead of being like, hell yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, let's get into, let me tell you that I read this and I ate this up. Shout out to our girl, Elisa, because she sent me the arc beforehand. But I had already pre-ordered because I don't mess around. I support my friends. And I pre-ordered it from the Lit Bar.
Appreciate it.
And I read this and I was like, what? Also because people need to know all your other books, your babies, your other babies, they were based in New York, some Puerto Rico, da da da. This is the first LA. Yeah. And they also need to know that you're from the BX, from Boogie Down Bronx, but you've been living out in LA for a long ass time. So this is huge, I felt. And I was reading it, and I'm sure Hannah is listening to this right now, and she felt the same way. I was like, yo, those are the streets. I know that whole shit. I can see you know what I mean? It's like, it's I don't live there right now, but it's my town. Like, it's part of me. Right. And so anyways, let's talk about We Light Up the Sky. Tell the lovely folks what it's about.
So We Light Up the Sky it's a young adult book. It is an alien invasion story set in Los Angeles and centering three brown Latinx kids, high school kids, Pedro, Luna, and Rafa, as they deal with this visitor and a city who wouldn't save them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it was the perfect kind of like science fiction first context novel set in LA. It was fun.
Amazing. And just to give you context, kids, she will just like, I don't know, we talk almost daily. She'll just be like, hey, I'm thinking I want to do like a sci-fi like alien thing. We're like, oh, that sounds awesome. Da-da-da. Boom, here it is. It's dope. It's just like, what? What is this? What did you? And I will say, I feel that a lot of creatives should take note from you is that you are disciplined as hell. I feel like you set time aside. You even created a space where you could just every day I'm going to write. And I've heard other writers, other screenwriters, novelists, where they do that. It's a discipline thing. Like I might be writing shit, but I'm going to write for this time. And I feel like you're so prolific and we don't even know that you were busting that. You just be like, yeah, I'm thinking about this. And then boom, here it is. And then, oh, by the way, this is also coming out. We're like, what?
Yeah. I mean, I used to write a lot before I even had any books. Like, and I was trying to write a novel. I would write in the car. I was reminded of that by my kid, because she would do her extracurricular stuff. And then I would just take my laptop with me and it's like 2 hours sometimes waiting for a kid to finish.
Yeah.
And I would just write in the car, or I would write in the benches, the outside while you're waiting. And everybody would just see that. They'll be like, oh, there she is doing, and that's how I would wrote Margot Sanchez. So I am very determined in that sense. Like, I'm disciplined in that sense that I will dedicate time to projects that I really want make happen.
Yeah.
And I'll do that. Some of that has to do with anxiety, but a lot of it has to do with because I want to do it.
Yeah. So it's a nice mix.
Yeah. So, it helps.
And so, I heard you mention it in another panel that I saw you on, is that you kind of wrote this, but then the world happened to us.
Yeah.
It was the before times and then it was the fucking crazy times. And then how did you come to the decision like, oh, I'm going to infuse this. I'm going to put this in here.
Right. I knew my next book was going to be a science fiction, like a alien invasion book. Like, I knew that. Right. And then I was, I had a deadline, and I had to get it done. And, yeah. And then, COVID hit and I was just like, how do I write about this? Like, I was feeling, COVID is like an invasion, you know?
Yes.
And so I was feeling that really hard. And I needed to write through all those anxieties that I was dealing with lockdown, dealing with people getting sick, scared, you know, people dying. How do I write about this kind of overwhelming sense of grief and loss? And so, you know, my only way of coping with things is through writing. So I wrote "We Light Up the Sky" with the intention of marking how much we've lost, because it's set, you know, a couple of years after COVID, you know. But I had, you know, the mentality, or had the hope that we would be done. Right? Like, we were like, how silly of me. I thought we were going to be done. And then, you know, so it's weird. There were a lot of people who were like, do we write about, you know, are we writing our books? Do we write about COVID? Do we, you know? And I'm just like I have, if I'm going to write, I have to be as honest as possible. And I did write about it, you know?
Yeah.
But I don't want it to be a re-traumatizing thing for young people. I really wanted to lean into this idea of like, it is okay to mourn loss, the loss that we had, you know, that we're still dealing with, you know.
Yeah.
So hopefully I conveyed that. I'm not sure if I did, but
I feel, and that's like no bias, because you're my girl. I was reading it because, you know, people on Twitter, you know, Twitter, it could be a messy place. People choose violence some days, most days. And and I was just like, people are like, oh, people are signing on to do like a pandemic movie. And I was like, I don't want to fucking see that shit. And then when shows were like shows that, you know, they were current, and they show like how they're on with masks. And I was like, I don't want to see that shit. I need an escape, right?
Right.
Like, I don't, like you said, I don't want to I need an escape from it. I'm living it. I don't want to see it on my shit when I'm trying to relax, on the rare case that I'm trying to relax.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I don't want to relive that shit. But I feel this was done in such a way, because you're saying it's past it, but it's still talking about it in a real way. The real ramifications and the repercussions of what went down to all of us, but especially how it affected
young people, right?
People.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
it
was important for that, in the sense, because it's also like, even though you're kind of entering this world that you know, we light up the sky, you're entering in the world where these young kids are just, you know, hanging out and sort of partying, or like whatever, just being obnoxious, you know, like being themselves. But then they're still dealing with all this other stuff, right?
Yeah.
So it's just like, I don't know, it felt very current.
Super
like,
current,
even now, even though now kids, you know, in LA, they're still masked up and stuff.
Yeah.
They still want to go hang out and party.
Yeah, they just want to be kids. And I feel like it's very timely, but I feel it's a classic, because first and foremost, you are healing my teen self. You know what I'm saying? Like Margot, like, to see someone with curly hair, you know, and then for We Light Up the Sky, to see 3 brown kids. Do you know what I'm saying? On the cover. Like, if I would have known, you know, just looking through cover, I would have picked it on the cover alone. Do you know what I'm saying? But also just the classic idea of being that young, dealing with loss, no matter if it's from COVID or anything else. And without giving anything away, but just like how, as a teen and coming from so many different types of circumstances, how are you supported? How was it treated? How was death talked about? How was mourning talked about? Like, how was depression? How was, like, all that? I feel like that, and it's a coming of age, but it's like timeless. I think the alien situation kind of magnifies.
Yeah. It magnifies that. It magnifies the feeling of not only just, you know how aliens are usually, oh, it's about colonization and the other, right? But with these 3 brown kids, is that they are living in their own spheres, their own bubbles. And so then you see really clearly how each of them are kind of containing themselves, you know, in their bubble, until you can't do that times of crisis,
Yeah.
you know. And that's what we've learned even in pandemic. Like you like really learn, who can I be down, who's gonna be down and ride or die, like really
Yes.
ride or die, right? Like we learned so well, like, oh, you're going to Tulum, excuse me, what?
And not
You know?
year 2, but year 1.
Year 1, like, remember, we were like, who's doing what on IG?
Exactly. Exactly. It's, yes, for sure. It's been enlightening. These what are it was the before times, but I don't know what these times are called. The fucked up times.
I know, but it's like I was talking with a friend of mine. It's like I really cut down on friends, like friends, like I've just cut it down to like, oh, this is the core of the people that I know I could rely on.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are very, it's a very American mentality to be selfish and be self-centered and just, I'm going to just do whatever I want at the cost of everyone.
Yeah. I don't give a, like, they have the I don't give a fuck mentality. It's like, and I've been saying the past couple of times, I am low-key grateful that we had the trash administration and a pandemic coincide so I could see some of these people, motherfuckers' true colors, and be like, oh, I would have never known. I would have been none the wiser.
It's true. You're like, wow, I had no idea you were this. Okay. Click, unblock, block, block.
It's crazy. So there we are. So yeah, I recommend everyone buy it for the youngs in your families, but buy it for yourself. This is an amazing book. It's out now. I'm gonna have a link to all her dope shit. So don't even stress about it. What I want to get into now is how we met.
Remember how I didn't know? I couldn't remember like how we met, but I do remember because we worked in the same spot. Is that the first time?
I think so, because I don't know if I met you before I was freelance art directing there, or
I don't think so. I think we met
through there
because of it was because you were working there, and I was like, oh, meet this person.
And it was Jen Kuroki, amazing Jen family. She held one of my legs during childbirth. That's how close we're talking about. And I remember she was just like, and I remember it was at the job or not, and she was just like, oh, you got to meet her. You love her. She's from New York. She's dope, And at the time you were fashion writer, no?
I was their online editor-in-chief.
Oh,
so it was like, All right, let's get it right. No, okay. They were, it was a city, like it was city like magazine. So this one was Angelino, but I had to run all their city magazines for their online content. And it was an interesting life. It was like, I think my last gig as a journalist was working there.
Yeah, and so thanks to Jen, thanks to Mod Lux, Modern Luxury, that's how we met. But we were not like hanging out or anything. Just like, oh, hi. Da-da-da-da-da. And then like, maybe see you, because we have some amazing pictures of us sweating at a Wonderful, like a Stevie Wonderful or something. Yes. And so we like see each other like that. But then it wasn't until, I don't know.
When did we start like really talking? It was just recently.
Yeah, it was. I was living in LA. So it was at the Dons. So Kano, Supernatural Bear was already born. And then we were going to have you on the Nerd Out or something like that.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And then at the same time, then I think it was, I reached out. I was on Lady Emish, Elisa's show that she used to have. And then she had you on and you had a show over there. And then I don't know how we like triangulated and joined forces. But we were just like, oh, let's all.
It's true. Then we had a dinner and we started really connecting and talking, which is pretty much a lifesaver for me during pandemic.
Same. Fucking same. You two amazing bitches. The talks that you guys, I don't know if I could have made it without you guys.
This is the truth for me.
you know, like
Mhm.
because it was so many, we were all going, the world was going through so many emotions, but it was like, you know, I don't know. And I feel I could be as honest as fuck. It's like a safe space,
Yeah.
you know, and then we could talk mad trash.
And also, it's just like we were talking about this the other day. Is like we could talk about things like hip hop,
Yes.
like going crazy when the verses is out, and we're just all like, "Did you?" You know, like just live chatting it up. Like,
Yeah, there's so many things. Like I mentioned in the episode that we had where we're all three of us are on Nambi Productions Lights, episode 2. Go check it out. You know, it's like you guys cross over on so many things. We could talk about movies, hip hop, writing, you know, and I learned so
mhm.
much from you guys because it's like, you know, you guys are from the literary world and I can learn so much from that. And then like music, I mean, it just runs everything. So thank you to Jen. Thank you to Modern Luxury. Thank you to you. Thank you to Elisa. Like it's been amazing. And also to see you go from, oh, editor over here to, yeah, I'm going to write books. Oh, yeah. And then boom, 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 awards. Like it's a beautiful thing to see, you know, to see your friends have, you know, I'm going to do this now. And it's not a dream. It's just like, I'm going to change directions now. I'm going to pursue this other shit that I like. And to see them not only do it, but thrive. I mean, it's gold. It's gold for days.
It's just like it was funny because I ran into someone who I used to work with at Modern Luxury. We didn't run in. We met this earlier this week, and it was just nice to remember. Like, oh yeah, you know, like that. Like we still like we, you know, she still she writes books and she's working for TV as well. And I was just like, oh, look at us, look at us.
Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Look at us. Amazing. So on top of, you know, the books and everything else, and you've written for Latina magazine and all these different things, you've written some, especially in the past couple of years, you've written some really amazing personal articles, essays, however you classify them. But the one that I think spoke to me, and I remember I sent it to everybody and their mother because it was that powerful, is the talking to my family about colorism is an act of self-love.
Oh man, thanks for seeing that. I really appreciate that. I don't like writing personal essays. Just let's be real. I like it's really hard to be vulnerable on the page when you have to, you know, just be honest and talk about things that maybe you're ashamed of, you know. And that essay is a little bit, it's hard. It's hard for each of my essays. It's just hard for me to be that way because then I you know, I just grew up in a world where you're not supposed to be airing any of your dirty laundry out,
of course,
and you're supposed to keep all that stuff quiet and not say anything about it. And so yeah, I get uncomfortable.
Yeah,
when they come out.
I'm sure. But I just want to say thank you, and I'm sure everyone that's read that wants to say thank you because it was done in such a way where you're telling it from your personal experience. But it's what my friend says, and what we say about this podcast is the universal and the specific. Like you're talking about specific people in your family and your specific unique story. But it's fucking universal for days because I relate to that shit.
Right.
My friends that I've sent it to, they're like, yo, I was like, I know, I told you. Like, because it came out, I believe, last year, right?
I think
2020.
So. Yeah, you're right. It was last year. Oh my goodness.
It was last year, which seems like a world ago, but it was last year. And it was like so many things were happening, right? It was like the uprising, the revolution in the streets, the awareness, the trash, you know, administration, there were so many different things. And it was, I think for me, I was like, yes, perfect timing because we were dealing with the Black Lives Matter movement.
Yeah.
And then seeing like, yo, where's our people? What are we not talking about? Oh, the shit that we never talk about, that it's been in place for years. That we don't talk about it in our personal families, in our nuclear families, in our extended families, let alone, we love to group ourselves when something's winning. But when we want to talk about some real shit, like this is necessary. This is the time to talk about it, right? Because, we always say, the powers that be, they don't want us to unite. They love, this is by design. They want to keep us separated. But if we need, just like the United States, the world, but especially this country needs to talk about the bullshit that happened and be real with it. Our Latinx, Latin, whatever, however you want to call it, our Black and brown, Afro-Latino communities, we need to talk about this shit because we can't move forward until we recognize it.
Have your kids been in a house playing video games in your space way too long? Now you can get them outdoors and still be social while social distancing at the skate side after school and group skateboarding classes. Skate students get to improve their skating and decompress after a long day or week of school. This program is awesome for beginners to get started or advanced skaters to take their skills to the next level. Go to theskateside.com and learn about our COVID-safe programs in Santa Monica, Culver City, Glendale, and South Pasadena. That's theskateside.com. The Skate Side. More kids skating.
Yeah.
And then what's key. The solutions? But that's major step number one. Like recognize that colorism exists. And I feel like it's been a nice wave. And I feel that you were at the beginning, at the cusp of that, of that wave where it's like, oh, okay. Oh, I relate to that. It's necessary. Let's talk about it. So I feel like more and more people talk about it. So anyways, I'm going to have a link to this too. You guys have to read this. It just breaks it down. And it's an honest, vulnerable look of a situation.
Yeah. I mean, it was interesting because then I think it was like, and then in the Heights came out and I was just like, oh,
yo. In our face.
It was like, oh, okay. Like I was just like, wow, okay. So then here it is. Here's familia, not seeing what's right in front of them, and the choices that are being made again and again in Hollywood, And
and this time by our own supposedly community.
Right. And then I'm like, and I have very little connection with Hollywood for sure, but I'm so aware of how that happens, It's like you want your stuff to be out there on the screen. How many, like, it's so hard to just get to that point.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, like and I get it. I guess I could just say that I get it, but it was a misstep that maybe could have be remedied in a way,
Yes, for sure. So let's just hope that, we have more of these conversations, within our own, it starts at home.
Exactly.
It starts at home. It starts with ourselves. Like, how am I?
Right. I mean, myself. That's
your personal shit.
Where like that is like just making sure that my blind spots, and like to be surrounded by people who are going to check you.
Exactly. And that's something that I was just telling the Supernatural Bear yesterday. Like, if you're a good friend, you check each other. And not in a way to take you down. It's just because I care about you. So I'm going to invest this time into saying like, yo, you're tripping. That's not right. Or maybe you should rethink this or blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I feel that you guys, you ladies, the LMC, the Knob B Productions really provide that for me.
Right.
I was just listening to this podcast about it. It's a recap of Insecure. And they were talking about how like, sometimes you have those friends that are like ride or die. that are going to be like, what's happening? Oh, let's get this. Let's kill some people. Like, but they're not really aware and they're not really being, constructive.
Like maybe, right. Like maybe you're wrong.
Yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't be killing this person.
Exactly. And then you have the friends that are just like there to help you out and listen and support you. And if you really come out of pocket where it's detrimental to yourself and others, they'll be like, excuse me? Are you really and we need that, we definitely need that.
I'm always telling my friend, like, yo, if you hear me saying something like that, make sure, like, no, A, that I might be possessed, and B, take me out, I'm just like, make sure.
Yes, for sure. Okay. So let's get into these questions and comments from the audience.
Oh, okay.
First, being from the Bronx, what is the one thing that pleasantly surprised you about LA? And having been here for a while, how do you think the two cities have equal weight and influence your work? Also, hugs to her. That is by our good friend that we mentioned earlier, Jen Kuroki.
Jen.
She's a dope-ass ceramist. I'll have a link to her stuff too. Buy her stuff. It's gorgeous.
It really is. So talented.
Super talented. And so buy her shit. So what's the answer to Jen?
It's so funny because I lived in LA for 20 years and I'm always Bronx. Like, look, I'm wearing a BX sweatshirt. This is what I wore today. And so I'm always constantly, I have Puerto Rican flag in my car. Like I'm constantly repping. But I've gotten into weird arguments with people in LA about it. Like, I don't know why. Like, I just don't I guess people think like they need to have a conversation with me because I'm repping. And so then the Bronx comes out, right? And so then I'm like, here it is. Like, this is like signs of the universe telling me like, oh, you just want a little bit of Bronx. You miss it? Here, if you have an argument with somebody. And so it's really strange when that happens. But I'm just like, really? So, but I do love LA. LA is a really kind of unique, a different type of city. I'm always in awe of it. Like I'm just like, oh, there's like gems in this city that people are unaware of.
For sure.
It's not just families who are living here who have grown up here, but there's like really beautiful moments in this city that I love, and I'm just like I'm always discovering something new. And so I really do love it here. But I always get my fix. I always go to New York, go there and then come back. So I'll be there next month. So I'm ready.
You're like our favorite vampires. Like you need a little bit of Bronx. Next time you go, bring a little thing of Bronx soil. And put it under your bed.
It's funny because we go to there's a bakery near or whatever. There's like bread. It's like really asopao, I think it's called bread or what is it called? I forgot. It's a special bread and it's very soft. And I kid you not, I brought it back with me when I was from New York like last month. I came in and I was like, here to my husband. He was like, wow, so happy. I'm like, it's just bread. But we get it from this bakery in the Bronx.
That's special.
It's different.
Hilarious. Okay, let's go to the next one. It's what is your personal practice around writing and self-care? And also, it's three-parters. What advice would you give to your younger self? And the final part, your style is fire. I got 3 fire emojis. Where do you shop? And this is by someone that's turning into a good friend. I feel we have a lot in common, a writer and creative in the well-being space. She's part of my Inspired Action tribe. Her name is Jessica Marquez Cable. I'm sorry if I'm messing that last part up. But yeah, she's a fan. She loves your work. She also loves your style.
Oh, thank you. So, okay, I guess the first one is about advice about for my younger self.
What is your personal practice around writing and self-care?
Okay, so writing and self-care is that's a new one for me. So I mean, I could say that only because I'm not currently writing a book, and I'm taking a really long kind of break from that and just being very specific as to what I want to work on next. So before I would just be like hustle, hustle, hustle. And I'm lucky in the sense that I could take that little break. But that to me is self-care, is allowing myself to like just be open to inspiration and really kind of think of where I want to go next when it comes to my writing. And being okay with that. And that's to me is the challenge, is being okay with that. It's like, because sometimes I find myself like, oh my God, I should be writing. And I've written I would write every day, and now it's like, it's okay to just read a book. It's like all of this is helping inform my next project. So, so self-care is just being okay with whatever it is the path leads me to,
Yeah. Staying still for a little bit.
Okay, so
advice for your younger self.
Advice for the younger self. The advice for my younger self is I wish I didn't have as much doubt as I did when I was younger, when it came to my writing talent. I had really huge doubts. And I think that really stopped me from pursuing even my journalism. Like it just, I stopped myself from like applying to journalism school because I didn't think I was good enough. I would stop myself from applying to other jobs because I didn't think I was good enough. And now I'm just like, y'all need me. So when I get a rejection, which I still do, I'm just like, you failed. You a mess.
You're going to catch the vapors. For sure. Oh, because it's the truth, kids. I don't know what you're thinking. It's the truth. She's telling, no lies detected. And then your style is fire. Where do you shop? You know what? You don't have to give out.
I honestly, I mean, I wish if I had money, I would be like Alexander McQueen and Prada. Oh, I love those clothes, but I'm not money. So I very selective, buy clothes that makes me look good. And I used to be a fashion editor, so I'm really into fashion and really into clothes and details of clothes and how they're made. I think it's an art form and it's a way of expressing yourself. So I do love wearing clothes. So even though I'm in my sweats today, when I do events, even Zoom events, I make sure that I dress accordingly.
Yeah, you're really good about knowing your colors. Like that's hard. Like I'm just getting into, because I got the green undertone, so a lot of shit looks like shit. So I just stay black, but I'm starting to get into colors. But you're really good at going with colors, like bright colors and patterns, and they look really good on you. But also, kids, I mean, if you don't know what Lilliam looks like, you need to look her up, and then just know that her and her sister, they are Benjamin buttoning their asses through this life. Let me tell you. Okay.
I have to say that my sister really does help me. She's like, whatever fashion sense I got, I definitely got it from my sister, who was really at a young age, really knew how to dress and really would go to vintage stores. We didn't have any money, but she would just buy, vintage clothes and thrift stores and just really knew how to dress. And I think I got that from her. So sometimes I'll go home and she'll still be like, here, I saw this here. And I'm like, fabulous.
Amazing. Okay. So this part is, it's an audio visual question coming in.
Oh, okay.
And so the audience, of course, you're only going to hear the visuals, but just know, I mean, just audio, but the visuals are on point too. So let's see if I have this. And if not, you won't hear it because I'll edit it so that you won't hear me mess up. But let's see. Okay. Can you see this?
Yes.
Hey, yo. Welcome to this episode.
Can you hear that?
Dos Mujeres.
Okay, let me start it from the beginning.
What was that? Okay.
You can hear it though?
Yeah, I could.
Okay. Here it goes. Here's the question.
Hey, yo. Welcome to this episode of Dos Mujeres, Un Chinito. You know what it is. This message is for the butter Pecan Rican, Lilliam. It's your boy. I'm out here in these Burbank streets. Holla. Yo, I wanted to know, since you're Boricua, I always wondered, sort of a New York question, how come Puerto Ricans be getting tight whenever you mistakenly ask them if they're Dominican? Yo, what's your beef? You guys think you're better than everybody else? You got your little parade? You guys think you're fucking big time? Frankie Valley? Is that what you think? Anyway, I want to hear it from you guys. Tell me, why do you guys get so offended? What's so special? Holler.
Oh my God, that is amazing. I feel really privileged and honored to receive that question. I mean, it's just too much. It's too much. How do I answer this?
That's from Word to Your Mama, episode 6 guest, Kano Kid, the mild-mannered hooligan. And they have this, thing because they're both from New York and they're the same. They've been out here for a while and they need a little New York fix. And you needed a little New York fix. There it is.
I love that. It's so true that he broke it down with the parade.
You got a parade. You think you're better.
No,
but I also like the deep dive, the B side of, instead of dos mujeres un camino, dos mujeres un chinito. He's Chinese Ecuadorian. Hilarious.
To me, that alone should be the next podcast that we see you do. That should be the title. I'm ready.
Dos mujeres un chinito will take the world by storm.
It'll be fire.
It'll be like 7 fire emojis.
Hilarious. Oh. I don't have a beef with Dominicans. If I bring down the history of that, we all know why. Just read the essay on colorism. That answers the question why the PRs have problems. That is the key.
That is
the key right there.
That's what it is.
But my book, Never Look Back, is all DR love.
Yeah,
it's all DR love.
Yeah, so make sure you get that as well. Make sure you cop that as well. But shout outs to everybody who submitted the questions and comments. Kano going above beyond. I was like, give me audio. I want to play audio because she needs that voice. She needs that New York voice. I know it's Queens versus BX, but it's New York nonetheless. It's the New York sensibility. But then he sent me the video. He sent it to me last night. She's going to love this shit. She's going to love it. I
love it. I'm telling you, that's going to be the next podcast. Someone pay us all the money.
We're not going to do it unless we get paid. Just listen to this episode, right? And then go listen to him and I together, and then imagine us 3 together.
It'll be on. It'll be on because it's Queens, Bronx, and LA. It's like LA is Cali. It's just
West Coast,
West Coast, East Coast, Ecuadorian, Chinese.
Yeah. Boricua, Mexicana. We cover a lot. Amazing.
It's amazing. I'm ready for it. I'm so ready.
I'm here for all of it, but also only if we get paid. Let's make sure we make that part clear. Okay.
Very clear.
Produced. We just show up, be our amazing selves. It's produced, it's edited, and put out in the world, promo and everything. Yeah.
That's it.
Done. It's a done deal. I love it. Okay. So to wrap it up, because you were already on episode 2, make sure to check it out. Nabi Productions Light. That's hilarious as well with our girl, Elisa, Lady Emish. Heartbreak Monday Radio. Make sure you check that shit out. I'll have a link to that as well. Because you answered the not so rapid fire questions, the AKA slow as hell questions. This is the not so rapid fire questions, AKA the slow as hell questions part 2. And these are for you. Are you ready?
I am ready. Yes.
Bad Bunny or John Bernthal?
Oh my God. Bad Bunny. Excuse me. I'm staring at him right now. I'm staring at him right now. I mean,
yeah.
hello.
Amazing. Because I was like, I gotta make her pick between two people that I know she loves, but now we know who you love more.
I love John. I love that actor. I do. But it's weird because I feel like I might meet him,
Yeah, I think so too.
But Bad Bunny, I'm like, what's up?
Totally. Okay. Out of everything you've written to date,
yes,
which is your absolute favorite book or essay? Absolute favorite. It's like picking a child, I suppose. Your favorite child.
Hard. I really do love Never Look Back. I think it's my most personal, and it kind of incorporates a lot of different things in there that I love. So I would say Never Look Back. But I love all my books.
They're all amazing. Sushi or tacos?
Ooh. Damn.
I know. It's tough questions. I know.
It's really tough. I'm going to say tacos because that's like literally that's like my New York pizza. Like I have to have tacos at least twice a week.
Yeah.
So, I mean, sushi, I'm not having twice a week.
Yeah, true.
So
I'll say tacos. Okay, tacos. Okay, and the final question. New York or LA?
New York all the time. Sorry.
No hesitation.
New York. I mean, it's weird, right? I've been here for so long and I still feel like I'm from New York. Where are you from? I'm from New York.
Oh, yeah. Where do you live? I go, I haven't lived there in 20 something years.
I mean, how ridiculous am I? I'm like, wait, I'm from New York. Oh, but I live in LA 50 years.
50 years plus, but But Kano, it's funny because Kano's the same way,
What is that? It's hilarious.
It must be in the water. And it's in I don't know. It's a New York thing because he's the same way. There's like, without fail, something New York comes out, something about New York, something New York. But then at the same time, it's funny. I was driving past, every time I drive past Burbank, because he's representing the banks. I was like, text him. I go, do you hear me honking? Because I'm passing the banks right now. The banks.
The banks. Freaking hilarious.
The banks. We're like, ooh, you're from the hard street of the banks.
Repping hard.
It's tough being from Animation City.
Amazing.
Lilliam,
at least he has, over there, over the hill, at least he has a Puerto Rican restaurant. I don't even have a Puerto Rican restaurant here.
That's true. Yeah, he does have that. And when he eats over there. You guys are just like I miss, man. People don't understand the good food.
Oh, yeah.
The good food LA has.
It's
all
so
different
true.
types.
I
go
love
someplace else, you were like, oh man, I didn't know how good I had until you're gone, and I'm gone, and it's missed. And then one of my friends, she she posted where she was going to go eat. I was like, you're hurting me. I go, that's painful. And then you know what she does? Savage. She sends me a picture of her eating the taco. I was like, savage.
Oh, so good.
Savage.
I'm always like, oh, there's a new restaurant. I'm like, whenever someone wants to meet for a restaurant, I'm like, where do you want to tell me now? Because I'm barely going out, but they're like, can we go somewhere new? Because I'm like, I haven't hit everyone. Like, I'm like, show me all the good restaurants. My goodness, right? We get excited
So many. I know. Lilliam, muchísimas gracias for doing this. It was so much fun, as I knew it would be. And make sure you go get everyone's shit. So what is coming up in the pipeline so people get ready, and if they can pre-order, order, what are we doing?
No, we just got We Light Up the Sky. Anything that comes out won't be coming out until 2 years from now. So nice. It's just We Light Up the Sky, buy my book, buy Never Look Back. It's on paperback now. It's audiobook. It's being translated.
Yeah.
So we'll have that soon. I'm not sure when, but I'm excited about Never Look Back being translated. I've been talking with the translator, and she's really paying attention. Like, it's translators are amazing writers, and so she's just really being, just specific, and I love it. So
Yeah, because you can get fucked up translations. So you just really want to make sure that it translate the emotion that you were trying to convey. So that's amazing.
So that I don't know when that comes out, but yeah, just buy and never look back. That's all.
Just buy all her books. Just buy all her books.
I love being on here. I love talking to you. You know this.
And don't forget, we're really serious, but we're serious about Dos Mujeres, Un Chinito. Okay, so get us that bag, and we'll make it happen.
I'm so down. I mean, it'll be so many arguments. It'll be perfect.
It'll be perfect. People need it. People need it. Thank you, Lilliam. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And now introducing
The Supernatural Bear Corner. Supernatural Bear. What's up, guys? SME16 here. And today's spotlight is Miss Lilliam Rivera. And she writes books such as Dealing in Dreams, Never Look Back, and the Goldie Vance Series, etc. She writes amazing books, which you should definitely go check out. And my mom will most likely put a link in the description below of the episode. Oh, sorry, show notes. I'm part of the showbiz, not the pod biz. The show notes, so that way you can go purchase all of her amazing books. You can also find them in some local libraries as well, but she's an amazing author, and like she deserves way more credit than she actually gets. Like she already gets a lot of credit, about 7 credit, but she should be getting an 11 credit. Also, this is out of 10, 11 credit, because her books are so good. They never use words such as said multiple times for one character in a chapter. They instead use things like exclaimed, cried, shouted, whispered, and it's just so expressive. Also, that was Ritzy P, aka my mom, laughing in the background. Anyway, thank you for listening to Word to Your Mama, and thank you, Miss Lilliam, for being on the show. All right, bye, guys.
There you have it, folks. Episode 53 of Word to Your Mama with Lilliam Rivera. Dope. She's fantastic. And you probably don't know me. If you know me, you know I can't fake the funk, even if I know you. So please know that I am sincere about her writing. Sincere about the length, how she takes you onto all these different genres. You're like, I don't know. I mean, she could write this, but can she write a mystery for the Goldie Vance? Yes, she can. Can she write sci-fi with We Light Up the Sky, Alien Invasion? Yeah, she can. And I just want to give again a special shout out to both Lilliam Rivera and Elisa, aka Lady Emish. Go check out. I'll have a link to her episode with DJ Fat Trick, because they do the amazing show Heartbreak Monday Radio. Big shout out to them. They are an integral part of how I was able to survive the past couple of years. Ride or dies, man. Ride or dies. So, gracias, hermanas. I appreciate you. I love you. I see you and I hear you. And also, I told you, the Supernatural Bear, just stating facts. And who doesn't want to hear this spinoff of Dos Mujeres, Un Chinito? I think it's going to be crazy. It'll be fantastic. So make it happen, folks. As always, thank you so much for the support. If you have any questions, any comments, leave some reviews, but also reach out. Send an email to hola@wordtoyourmama.com. And, DM us, do whatever, and support, donate, become a patron on Patreon. Tell your folks, tell your peeps, tell your friends. And as always, we reap. Word to Your Mama is owned and produced by Ritzy P. Intro beat produced by Nico Beats. If you need any more information on Word to Your Mama, including Media Kit, go to wordtoyourmama.com. And as always, Word to Your Mama is brought to you by RissyPeriwinkle.com and DoyenSharp.com.